record this?
We generally record all of the community meetings.
Okay.
Um, and and also Christine, requested that we recorded as well. I mean we record all the community meetings and we do have this kind of like um guideline or value, which is that if at any point during the meeting, somebody wants to share something and they don't feel comfortable having it recorded, then just, sort of tell me and we pause the recording. So we're always able to pause recording at any time if anybody, if that helps anybody.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
so let's see how is Deborah feeling today?
how is Deborah feeling today?
Yeah.
I was so busy last night and then I just like passed out. And then this morning I had a call. Like I don't know, I just ran out of time. So I'm just finishing up putting into the spreadsheet. It's like really thrown together because I basically did it in like 25, 30 minutes. So it's not as organized as I would have liked for it to be, but it still has all the basic information in there. And then I can just kind of quickly go through it. I really should have put HSCs in here, but I didn't get to that. So I'll just do a quick one with HSC first, and then I can give you what am I trying to say? And then I can just basically give you yours as it relates to you. It was really interesting. I did a lot of copy pasting because we have a lot of overlapping strengths, life themes, um, profiles, everything. So that's interesting to me. Like to have this much overlap is interesting.
Mhm. Do you want, because we have those notes, pretty detailed notes from the HSCs, human design. I know where those are generally. Like, I can find them. Do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean you could do that, and then I'll just quickly go over the rest of everybody's stuff, and I mean, if we run out of time, because I actually didn't realize I have another meeting at the top of the hour too, so I'm actually only here for 50 minutes today. But it's probably better that we keep it short and then let everyone kind of just digest it, and then we can follow up next week with like more questions or whatever. Like it doesn't have, it's probably better to not like over inundate anyone right now and just give some basic, just the basic information, some of the things that I think will be very helpful in understanding all of our similarities because there are many, and then all of our differences as well. Like there was a couple that just like jumped out at me. I was like, well, no wonder I'm the odd duck in this group. I was like, but then there was other things that was like, oh, me and Mescal have the same vocation, which is like the same exact vocation, which I thought that was interesting. Um, and then you all have some overlapping strengths, so it's pretty cool. All right, I think I've got enough here that I can just share screen and then we can go
Okay.
through it.
So I just dropped. They were already in the meeting notes, but Deborah, I dropped the link in the chat. But the current meeting notes for today, what I did is I just copied and pasted the HSC human design. Um, which is the information there. So if that helps for you to have that reference, you can get it in the meeting notes.
Okay. All right. Cool. 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 I'm just gonna share. Hold on. Let me see. Am I allowed to share screen?
Yeah, let me make sure you have permissions. Okay, you should be good to go.
Okay. So this is going to be the untitled spreadsheet. Let's go up to the top.
All right, cool. This is exciting, dude. I'm excited. I love this kind of stuff.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually going to look at the HSC thing real quick. Hold on, the one that you just put in the chat, because I think this will be helpful. Okay, so we'll start with the HSC very quickly. This was an overview. Oh, I remember copy pasting this to you guys. Okay, so HSC is strongest part is a storyteller, um, which, um, okay, so the storyteller, the archetype of the storyteller is to kind of listen to other people's stories, collect your own stories, then kind of sit with them for a while, let them digest. And then later on, you harvest the lessons that you've learned from those stories and you share them with people in the form of stories as well. So it's a way of basically taking all of the wisdom from different stories and then sharing them with the collective, for the benefit for people to be able to feel, to get the wisdom from that. Fulfilled through form. Okay. I'm not going to go into that, but it's really basically just saying that there needs to be some tangible component to whatever is created. So maybe with HSC, it ends up being, a tangible component could be something as simple as a meeting, but it could also be an actual like in-person gathering that we have sometime, or, it could move into other forms, but that it's not just living in someone's head or on a document somewhere, that there's an actual physical component to it. Um, Profile of 5-1, the leading authority, is practical leadership that's based on, study, research. There's facts, and then there's facts to back up the facts. It's just a very much about like having all your I's dotted, your T's crossed, and your Q's. And everyone in this group, except for me, has line 1 in their profile, which is the investigative, um, authority. Your authority comes from your study and research, which is very different from my energy. My energy is like, throw some spaghetti at the wall, that's stuck. Okay, let's go. It's a very different energy altogether. Life theme of refinement. I already mentioned that yesterday, making a home a place of beauty and harmony. So harmony and beauty, and bringing healing and enrichment to yourself and to others. So this is a piece where I'm like, I'm not necessarily feeling the harmony genuinely now. It's not that I feel like anyone's fighting each other, no, but there is some dissonance there. So we could get to better harmony. And that's one I feel where there may be some misalignment. Okay, also a builder, it's a step-by-step process. It builds momentum. So builders are not shortcut people. Don't go from step 1 to step 3. We need to. It's like there has to be 1, then 2, then 3. It's a very step-by-step kind of process. And it may seem slow, but it's actually just because it's about excelling at the process versus an express builder, which is about finding the fastest way. Okay, so it's a different purpose. So the energy is very deliberate and insistent. So if you, and I don't know if this has been the case because I don't know enough about how the process has gone, but if we notice that like one meeting we did this, and then another meeting we did something completely different, and the next meeting we just keep hopping around on what we're doing, it's not going to work because there's no momentum built. It really needs to be like a very deliberate, intentional building of momentum. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to say, I don't know why I got this weird. This is not right. The messaging is actually not for investigators or researchers. That might have been yours, Rob. Let me look at yours. Yeah, yours was for investigators. HSC's is for the network. It's for people who want community and who want to relate to each other in a tribal way, in a way that like, you are my extended family, you are my close friend, I look out for you, if you're sick, I'm taking food to the hospital, like that level of it's closeness. It's not strangers. It's not like a big party of people who don't know each other. It's like people who really know each other and look out for one another. That is the energy of the people that HSC sees. And that's why it makes sense that it is a community, it's a collaborative, it's a cooperative. And it also makes sense that it's creating that beautiful home for them, that place of healing, that place of harmony for this group, this network of close-knit community. So that's all I want to share there. Okay, so now I'm going to come over to us. Any questions about what I just said about HSC? Because that was super fast, but hopefully that helps.
Is there anything that we should change? I mean, I put down a couple notes at the bottom, but for that last piece, is there anything we should change in the little um, area there?
Yeah, this one needs to be changed, but I'll do that later because I have to go. I'll go copy paste it and
Oh,
edit it
okay.
because these are like really huge paragraphs, and I'm trying to distill down just the main point so that there's not a lot of text there. So I'll do that. I just need to make a note to do that. Anything else? Any other questions on this?
No questions. I mean,
Okay.
there's lots that, sort of pops into the name, but nothing seems necessary at this point. Yeah.
Uh, hmm. Vasilka, you were gonna say something?
No. Actually, we are good to go for the next
Okay,
step. So
okay. I'm gonna close this out. All right. Now we're gonna come here. So starting with Rob. So I'm gonna fly through these, but you can take a look at them. So this is coming from a database that I have. However, it could be simplified and it could be expanded upon. There's so much information. I'm just trying to take a little bit and what I see as highlights from my own experience working with human design and gene keys as things that would be helpful for you. So, first thing is your life work theme is tension. Interestingly enough, so is Basilica's. So you two have the same life theme. But there's going to be lots of differences because you're two different types. Okay. But anyway, so you channel your energy toward outward to alleviate tension, inspiring talent, leadership, purpose, and spirit in others. Your ability to push buttons and challenge norms helps others find their own direction and drive. My daughter
Sounds
has
right.
this theme, and she tells me she's also a manifestor like you, Vasilika, an initiator. And she tells me that when she comes into a room, she always feels where the tension is, and it always comes to her. So everyone else is like, oh, I feel so relaxed now. But she's actually, I didn't know that because ever since she was a baby, she's been like that. Any room she goes into, people immediately feel relaxed. But I didn't know that she was actually she was pulling their attention into her body.
Mhm.
yes, yeah. It's funny what you're mentioning because yes, I feel the tensions of other people. That the perspective you're bringing is that like they are feeling release, uh, because I'm there. So yeah, it's a very beautiful like
Yeah.
result. Yeah.
So one thing one of my teachers told me, and I will pass this on to both of you, is tension. People with this life theme really need to do body work. You need to find ways to release that tension from your body that you're always picking up because you can't help it. It's not like something that let me take the tension from you. No, it's coming automatically. So you to be able to release it in a perfect world where everyone was living as they're supposed to live and being who they are, you wouldn't be collecting tension. It would just be moving through. But because we live in a world where there's so much fear and so much stress and so many people not living according to their life, purpose and all that, you end up holding that tension inside of your tissues, inside of your muscles, inside of your body. So, body work, fascia release, anything to release that tension from your body is really good. So, whatever that is for you. Um, I don't know. I have to work on that with my daughter as a thing. Okay. So, Rob, you're an express builder. We talked about this before. You're here to get the job done quickly and efficiently. When your work is satisfying, you can quickly and efficiently bring an inspiration into reality. So you're here for shortcuts. Sometimes you have to go back and redo the steps that you missed sometimes. But that is your nature. So we want to honor that. Your strategy is to wait to respond for what life brings to you. So that does not mean responding to the idea in your head. And that does not mean initiating. Initiating is Basilica's job, not yours. Your job is to respond. So we shared some things with you yesterday. You're like, oh, okay. Then something may come in response to that. You might start creating a different spreadsheet or simplifying the language on the welcome document, whatever it is that came in response to something we said. But if you woke up in the middle of the night and was like, I'm going to develop a brand new app, and that came just literally out of nowhere, more likely than not, that was coming from your mind. Now, there is a point in time when you're in full alignment that that may not be the case. It may be a divine voice that's telling you to build a new app. And if that case, you go for it. But what we say in human design is strategy and authority are like your training wheels to come back into alignment with your own inner voice. And at the beginning, most of the voices you're hearing are your mind and not necessarily your true wisdom, your deep wisdom. In human design, we never use our mind to make decisions. Our minds are for other people to translate the wisdom and the knowledge that we have to other people so they can use it to make decisions. It's not for us to make decisions. We don't use our mind to make decisions. So your life force energy will naturally operate out of a gut response to the world. So for all the people, all the times you hear trust your gut, that is for your type and for my type, the builders. We trust our gut. For Vasilika, she shouldn't trust her gut because her gut is not consistent in what the information is that it gives her. She can trust her inner knowing, but that doesn't come from her gut. So for her, asking yes, no questions doesn't make sense, but for you and I, it does. So when people ask you yes or no questions, that's really important. 1, 3, the experienced authority is deeply driven by a desire for knowledge. Sorry, I just want to bold this to make it a little easier to read. Is deeply driven by a desire for knowledge and understanding, seeking a solid foundation in everything you do to feel secure and certain in your decisions. Sorry, this is somebody else's text. I'm going to move the screen so I can see this. Anyway, you are naturally introspective, craving detailed investigation and study to feel fully informed and confident in your path. Others see you as a determined trailblazer who learns best through action and real life experiences, thriving on trial and error to discover innovative solutions. Your journey has been shaped by challenges and lessons learned, making you resilient and adaptable, a true catalyst for transformation. To fulfill your purpose, you must embrace your curiosity, value your experiences, and trust your ability to adapt and lead with wisdom and strength. Moving forward to your brand, you are the dynamic liberator at your highest expression. So starts out with incitement. I have a feeling that right now you're in a phase in your life where you're in reaction to the incitement that you probably pissed off a lot of people when you were younger, and now you're trying to be like really nice. But the 39, which is your brand, is a provocateur. It is here to provoke. It is here to stir stuff. So it's not necessarily always going to be the most popular one, you know? Think of the brand of people like Madonna or Pink. Pink is actually cross attention, by the way. She's the same life theme as you two. And Pink, yeah, I'm here to dominate the world. Like, there is there's nothing mild about that energy. So just keep that in mind, Rob, because you're not a 4. The other 3, they have the excuse that they're 4s. You are a 3, a 1, 3. So you are here to kind of stir things up. That is your natural provoking. So here it says your true gift lies in activation, where your ability to provoke challenges others to reevaluate and analyze situations, leading to deeper understanding. Your emotional expression acts as a catalyst, teasing out the true essence of what's happening and helping you work through your own feelings in the process. Sometimes your best strategy is to bypass obstacles rather than confront them head on. Yes, I've seen that, especially if doing so would put others at risk. You persevere through these periods of assessment. Your provocations reveal who aligns with your spirit and who does not. While others may react negatively to your moods and provocations, this is part of your unique gift. It is essential to recognize that if your provocation only causes irritation without growth, those individuals may not be right for you. When aligned with being the dynamic liberator, your energy frees both yourself and others, and bringing clarity and release from stagnant situations. How's that landing for you, Rob? That just what I just read now.
Yeah, that lands. I mean, as I've gone along, I sort of the word has been instigator, right? That's part of what I see is what I do is like an instigator or catalyzer.
Mm-hmm.
It could be switched for provocateur. Yeah, but I don't see it as like instigator in a way of like
Right.
it's sort of like an instigator with, like coming from yeah, exactly, coming from like this place of wanting, to help, whoever I'm instigating, like grow. And
Yes.
from a place of like coming from a place of kindness. It's not like,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's not an
Absolutely.
instigator like, hey, I'm gonna like, try and piss you off. Like that's not the idea.
Exactly. No, no, no. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that that is
Yeah.
the energy. And when people get pissed off, that like it says, it may not be the right people for you. So it's like you're here for a certain group of people, not everybody, right? And
Mhm.
here it calls it activation, and its highest expression is dynamic liberators. So
Yeah.
there's absolutely nothing negative about it at all. You may struggle with overreaction when your strong principles lead you to react impulsively to situations or people, but your true gift lies in activism, where you are driven by a deep commitment to social reform and transformation. So, this is your vocation. So, it's not your strongest thing, it's not what people pick up from you immediately, but it is your maturing energy. And it is what you're like really here to champion in the world is this activism
Mm.
and and it
Mm.
says at the highest expression it's the righteous rebel. Your influence leads to profound renewal, guiding communities towards a higher state of consciousness and harmony. And then these are your four superpowers. You can read the sorry, three superpowers. You can read these. 2145 is the money strength. It's about leadership through making money and distributing money, basically. Distributing money to take care of people. And not just money, there's all resources. So
Uh,
education, and which is what you're doing with the resource pooling. You're right there. And this is 21 is one of your four strongest parts. So this is the strongest strength for you is the money line.
mm.
You also have competitiveness, but a healthy competitiveness that pulls out this like because 25 is really about like universal love. It's about like the spirit in all of us. So it's not the competitiveness that is like destructive, but actually energizing. It says each breakthrough you achieve brings a sense of exhilaration and deepens your own awareness, empowering others to tap into their own potential and drive. And then 3420, which is charisma, is really about being in the now and really showing others by the way that you live and by the decisions that you make how to honor your own unique expression and to honor your own energy, which is like I really admire this strength. I really wish I had it. It's a
Mm.
really cool strength because it's really about like you can use your power in the way that honors your knowing, your yeses and your nos in a way that can be revolutionary for other people who observe that around you.
Mm.
Okay. I'm
Beautiful.
gonna pause here and just say welcome to Chad and maybe if you want to tell him what we're doing and then I'll move on to Vasilka.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, welcome, Chad. Hi, Chad. If you can hear me, yeah, welcome. And yeah, hi. If you want, so yeah, so Chad, we're doing today, Deborah, at least for the first. Oh, okay. Yeah, got it. Problem with your mic. Thank you for dropping that in the chat. Um, yeah, just to let you know, we're doing, Deborah, at least for the first hour of the meeting, is doing a human design. Presentation program, for holistic systems and for us folks who are here. So yeah, it's really kind of like with the intention of you know creating more kind of alignment and harmony, and helping to right help move holistic systems forward and move those us forward as a group. So hopefully that's of interest to you. If you I don't I'm not sure if you've been in a meeting before, but if but there was a Chad who was here like a while ago. But if you want to introduce yourself, be happy to have you do that. And if your mic is not working, then feel free to just, do that in the chat.
Okay. I'm gonna keep moving and then because I want to get through Vasilka's at the very
Totally, totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We want to, yeah, do
so
facilitate.
we already talked about your life work theme. It's the same as Rob's. So we're going to move over. We talked a little bit about your being an initiator. You're self-contained, designed to work, acted dependently. What you do will impact others. You're not here to be guided or asked or told. Um, You have an ability to glimpse the future. It can often feel like you're waiting for everyone else to catch up. You look to the other types to provide the specific energy needed to complete what you envision. So one of my teachers says the initiator is like the project manager of a project. So they kind of come in, they have the idea, they get everything set up, they get everybody started, they show the vision, but then they're really not doing the legwork of it after that. They're just kind of getting everything going, and your authority really is that inner voice. It's like an inner impulse that you get. And what I've heard from other manifestors is they say that when you get that impulse, you either honor it or you don't. And if you don't, that window eventually, that portal will sort of close, and then you'll just have, then the next one will come. You don't know when it's going to come. You don't know how it's going to be or how long it's going to take. But when you get it, you just automatically start doing. The only challenge, though, is when you start implementing, if you haven't warned everyone else around you that you're about to start moving in your flow, then they're just going to get in your way and everyone's going to get mad, because this is the theme for the initiator, is when people are in your way, when you're trying to get something done, you get mad at them and they get mad at you because you just started doing something out the blue, didn't tell anybody. Oh, my daughter. I still work through this with my daughter because she's like, she has this idea and she just starts doing it. And I'm like, who told you that? First of all, was that a good idea? But then I can't do that. That's bad parenting. So I'm trying to work on that. And then I'm trying to like tell her, okay, you need to let me know. Ask me if that's okay before you start, cutting up the curtains or whatever it is she decides in her mind she wants to start doing. So this is a challenge for the initiator, is to inform. And it is not because you're asking permission when you're an adult. When you're a kid, it is about asking permission because not all their ideas are that smart in terms of like safety or whatever. But that having been said, I actually do trust that my daughter can keep herself safe. She literally walked home. It was not my idea. It wasn't a good idea, but she walked home from school, which was to her dad's place, which was a 7-mile walk at night. Only an initiator can pull that off, and I was like, oh, thank God she's an initiator, because we thought she was missing for a bit because they didn't know where she was. It was a whole thing. But at the end of the day, that your type, if you're really truly listening to your inner knowing, you'll be safe wherever you are. Everyone else, though, more power to them. So it's good to let people know before you start into whatever you're going to engage in. Okay, the 1-4 is your profile, your public role. That's the role you're playing in the world where people see you as this person. Let me just see. There's all this extra dead space, but I don't know where it's coming from. It's just going to be annoying. The expert networker is driven by a deep need for knowledge and understanding, seeking a secure and solid foundation in all you undertake. You're naturally introspective, preferring to investigate and study thoroughly before feeling confident in your decisions. Others see you as a gifted networker who excels at building close, meaningful relationships and creating a supportive community around you. Your warmth and friendliness allow you to cultivate a strong network, which is essential for your growth and opportunities. To step into your purpose, you must balance your thirst for knowledge with your talent for networking, ensuring ensuring you form genuine connections while also taking the time to recharge and maintain your emotional well-being. By integrating your love for learning with your ability to connect, you can create a powerful impact on your community and beyond. So the 1-4 and the 2-4 are both well known for being, leave me alone, where's the party? Literally, you have this inner battle between wanting to be by yourself and go study and get in the books and get into your thing you're interested in, and then also needing to socialize. And oftentimes you feel like a complete introvert, but other people see you as an extrovert because you have both, but you relate more with the 1 than the 4.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Consciously,
Yes.
consciously. But over time, as you mature, you'll start to notice your 4 side as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very warm energy. The 4 is very warm. It's very friendly. It's very BFFy. It's very, gets along with everybody kind of thing. Which also is an interesting conundrum between that and your cross of tension, your life theme of tension, which is like, yeah, but I'm here to kind of, start a fight. Because your strongest part is the 38, which is the honorable warrior. You're here to fight. You ain't here to sit down and take it. You're here to you're here to take somebody out if they're messing with the wrong one, right? Like this is and this is also my daughter. This is her unconscious son, and she's constantly. I'm like, I'm not here to fight with you. I just I don't want to argue with you about this, but she got to argue. But this is part of the energy of learning what things are worth fighting for and what things aren't. And that's the very, very, very important energy that you carry for all of us, is showing us what things are worth fighting for, because there are things that are worth fighting for. So your vocation, let's come over here. You and Christine share the same vocation. It's about really tapping. To me, I see it as tapping into the sensorial aspect of being human, tapping into your body. It says you may struggle with rigidity when you become overly focused on outcomes or weighed down by expectations, but your true root gift lies in serendipity, where your determination and dedication allow you to discover the good fortune that arises from unexpected opportunities. Whether you succeed or fail depends on the integrity and commitment you bring to your work and life. By fully surrendering to each experience without expectation, you open the door to potential and trust there where others may have failed. And succeed where others may have failed. So the thing I like about this particular trait is all disease in our body comes from us not being able to accept what's actually happening in life at some level, right? Like I have certain things I'm dealing with now in my body that I know come from my inability to accept certain aspects of life. And so for you, when you're able to really take in, as it says, surrender to each experience without expectation, you open the door to potential and success where others may have failed. And this is super duper important because this is your vocation. So it shows up somewhere in your work. I don't know where, because I don't know enough about you to know, but if you look at this and you think about it, being the euphoria explorer, your life becomes a joyful dance of possibility where each moment is filled with the potential for profound transformation and bliss. Somewhere this is showing up in your work. I don't care if you are a janitor, a landscaper, an architect, it's showing up somewhere in your work. And it's honoring that this is your life's work. This is your vocation. Okay, and then you have 3 superpowers as well. Competitiveness, like I think you share that with Rob, and then also the ambition, which is your dedication to service and motivation to be recognized for your achievements guide you in improving your position in life. And then the experiencer was all about really having the experience for the sake of having the experience, not for the outcome, for the experience itself, and really being able to. So there's a lot of that energy in your design, that experience, being in the experience. And it's not your most prominent, so you may not always notice them, but these are things that you're naturally doing without ever trying. It's already happening. You're already doing them. So it's just being aware of that and knowing that that's the end. Those are the energies that you bring to a space. And yes, your triple split is also kind of interesting. You're a person who you can kind of go both ways. You can be very on your own, and sometimes you need that, but then you also need people, lots of energy, because basically what it means when you have a split definition is that all of us, so human design, you could see it as like kind of like a map of how your energy moves through your body. And if you have split definition, that means that you have 2 separate circuits, or in the case of Basilica, 3 separate circuits. So that means that for, you know how like in school we had those mini little things we would do in the circuit, and then if we took a wire up or something, the light bulb would go off. We had to have it all connect for the light bulb to go on. Right now, there's a light bulb that's always off when Basilica's by herself because there's 2 splits in her circuit. So to make a full circuit where the light bulb is on, she needs to be around other people. So it's not wise for you to try to do work by yourself, is a good way of putting it. You want to always have a partner or a couple partners or some sort of thing. It doesn't have to be the same people all the time, but that you're not trying to do too much of your work by yourself, because it's just not really the best use of the way that you're wired. Or as Rob can get away with working by himself, maybe shouldn't, because you still 3 out of your 4. This is interesting too, Rob. Your 3 out of 4 of your strongest parts you need to be around, you need to experience them or learn about their wisdom in company with other people. You actually can't learn about them by yourself. So even though you have a single definition, you still have this issue. And
Mm.
one of my close friends, she's like that too. And she's like, I don't understand. I'm single definition. And I'm an express builder. I shouldn't need anybody. But I need people. Why do I need people? It's because for her to actually experience her biggest strengths and traits, she needs to be experience them with other people, because on her own, her circuitry doesn't connect them. They're disconnected in her circuitry.
Mm.
And same thing for you. So I'm just going to say this. I think maybe next time we can go through Mescal and Christine, since they're not here as well. But I will say the themes that I saw consistently. All four of you, Rob, Christine, Basilica, and Mescal, you all have the one in your public role, meaning that either consciously or unconsciously, the one is very prominent in your design. And that is also, the HSC is a 5-1. So the one is also the prominent for HSC. So that diving in, study, research, getting the facts, getting the backup for the facts, that is in you all's nature. And that aligns with HSC. So that's something that all of you would lean into in whatever you're creating. Also, the three of you, like I said, Basilica, Christine, and Mescal have incredibly rare profiles. The 1-4 and the 4-1 are not common. And all three of you have that. Christine is a 4-1, and Basilica and Mescal are the 1-4s. So there's something there. First of all, those are harmonic, meaning the 1 is the foundation of the introspection, and the 4 is the foundation of the extrospection. So it's like there's a harmony to that. And because HSC is here to serve the 4 in people, which is that community aspect, that network aspect, that warm family tribe aspect, then there's something to be said that you 3 have the 4 there that is already tuned into the energy of what HSC is here to serve. Another thing I would say is Basilica should, I shouldn't say, let me correct myself here. I shouldn't be telling a manifestor what to do. Rule number 1, I always get in trouble for this because I'm a mother of a manifestor. It's hard. It's hard. I'm like constantly trying to get creative. How do I not tell the child what to do, but get something done? But kind of being aware of maybe where your roles are better is in like where you feel the impulse. So it's not going to come from anyone else telling you, hey, we need help with this. But it's just going to be like, you're going to kind of size it up. And then one day you're going to be like, oh, I see what I can do to help. You're an emotional authority. There's one thing I forgot to tell you. Because you're an emotional authority, Basilica, you're going to need to sleep on things. The bigger the thing, the more time you need to sit with your own feelings. And if you're gonna like, yeah, it sounds great. I don't know, I don't feel good. Oh yeah, that sounds great. It's a no. The only time that it should be a yes for you to go forward with something is when it's consistently feeling good, regardless of the time of day, and you've probably slept on it for a few days. So you're gonna need time. But then once you get that sense of this is what I want to work on, then you would let us know. You would let Rob know. You would let Christine know. This is what you want to do so they don't get in your way, and then just go do it. And we'll leave you alone to do it because we know that's how your energy operates. And then when you get to a certain point, you'll be like, all right, who's going to take this over? Fortunately, you got 3-4 builders around you. So all of us can take that. We all have the energy to take over what you've set up. But that's really how it needs to work. If we try to treat you like a builder and just give you a task, it's not going to be in any way a good use of your energy. Another thing to keep in mind for all of you, so you and Rob, Christine, me, and Mescal don't have this problem because we're all classic builders, but you two want to go fast. You want to, kind of cut to the chase. And that's a good thing. Just be aware that everyone else isn't going slow. We're going at our own pace. It's okay for you to go faster than us. Just honor your own speed and honor our process and pace, because it's different, because we want to go step by step by step. that brings us to the other piece, though, that if you are going fast, try to organize it in a more linear way. Because if you just go fast and it's kind of random in the way that you go fast, which is fine for your own process. But when you bring that to HSC, it's going to kind of screw up the energy a little bit, because HSC needs to go in a very step by step by step by step kind of
Yeah.
process. So it's okay for you to do that on your own, but when you bring it here, like, try to organize it in a way that there's some sort of flow to it, so that the energy will go together and it won't be like and then there's no coherence there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah, it's very
And
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. It's fascinating, right? Because yeah, that's how I do things on my own, right? It's like boop, bop, 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 right? It's everywhere, and I'm able to hold it all. But yeah, but then to bring a process into the group, right? It might need to be set up differently. So that's very cool.
Yeah, I would definitely
can
say
you
those are some
can you
things
share
that.
the document with us? If you can share the document with us.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I will.
Perfect.
Let me see. Share. Oh, name before sharing. Okay, fine. All these logistics. HSC human. And I need to get Sai in there. I know she's asked me um
Mm.
to do that, but we haven't gotten together. We have the holidays, so I will check back in with her. Okay, I just put it in there. And I will go in and make some edits, because there's some things I didn't get to, but you got the basics there. You can take a look
Yeah,
at that.
definitely.
Yeah. Any other questions before I hop out?
Um, yeah, I have a question. So, so thank you. First of all, thank you, Deborah. Yeah, this is awesome. It's really great. And it's great to see you like do this process, because then that helps as we, right, as meet other people and say, oh, okay, here, Deborah, it helps you with this process and, have a better idea of it. Even though I know this was kind of a quicker one put together. But so, like, is the idea, because yesterday we were talking about like utilizing this as a tool, right, for alignment here. It seems like I get, how that could work, but is the kind of like the idea to, for us to understand, how we can each work together w with each other well, where the other people are coming from, what they're doing, and then how all that can then coalesce into holistic systems.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to do it yet, but there's an analysis that we do of for penta. So if we know, and we haven't, I don't think we got there, but if we know, okay, you're working on this circle, this is your role, this is your circle, this is your role, and we know that, then we look at this. There's certain energy mechanics we look at, and it doesn't mean that we need to change anything per se, but that we have an awareness of our gaps. Because when I looked at it before, I think all of us are missing a lot in those. So what will happen is, we're like, ideally you want a penta, which is a group of 3 to 5 people, to have certain characteristics all filled in, and
Hmm.
we were missing a bunch. We were like, everyone was missing the channel of the alpha, which is the 731, which is leadership, collective leadership on the logical side. So when we're missing a bunch, then we notice where the group tends to lean. It'll tend to lean one way or another, because it'll be missing something. So I just wanted to, I think I gave you the main keynotes that I saw real quick on communication, on decision making side, like for each of, and also where the line 1 and the line 4 ties in with HSC, and kind of the vibe. Like, I shared all that with you just now. So like, literally just taking the information that I gave you today and just using just that will probably be pretty powerful in helping us to work together well,
Hmm.
and be able to complement each other's strengths. And like, just knowing that difference, that you two are going to go faster, we're going to go slower, we're going to need things in a step by step, and so does HSC. So knowing like no problem, honor your process, but when you bring it here, try to get it in a format that matches what the group is, where the energy of HSC is going, so that it stays in alignment and it doesn't get too far out of wonk. Those are the kinds of things to start to consider. And I think if we just consider just the things I shared with you today, that's going to be plenty. That'll be plenty enough to work with, and I think we'll be fine. It's not like it needs to be something where you have this deep study of it, which I know y'all love. But that's not the purpose of this. Like, this is, sorry. Yeah. So I didn't talk about mine, but I'm a 3-5. So I'm literally like very dissonant to all of y'all, except for Rob. We have the 3 in common. So that flexibility and adaptability is there for both of us. But other than that, I'm a very different animal. I come in with a very different style and approach. It's very much on the fly, it's very intuitive, and it's very experimental. It's just like I just experiment with things and kind of feel into things. And I take all the things I've lived and I become that leader that guides from my lived experience. I don't really open books. I really am the opposite of you. It's like I'm just very much more about like this is what I've lived and I know it's in my body, it's in my cells, I can teach it. So, and I bring that warmth too. The psychological safety and trust is a part of my energy, actually. So it's like when you're with me, you'll feel that just from being in my aura, even if I say nothing. So these are some of the things that I bring to the team that is very different from what the strengths you all have, which are more splenic strengths, which are more intuitive, instinctual strengths. They're different in nature from the energies that I bring, which is more mental and more emotional in on that side.
Mm. Mm. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank
Amazing.
you.
Yes, thank you so much for this like map, because brings a lot of understanding about the situation. So thank you so much. I know that you are out of time, so there will be another moment to chat more and to see how we can bring these things in actually concrete stuff, and how can we use them more. Like, okay, I like in terms, depends on what is our vision and where we want to go, and yeah, to see how we can get there.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave the spreadsheet with you and then also the document that Rob shared. I think those two things are good to digest and sit with for a little bit. And I'm sure more questions will come up. Write them down, send me an email with your questions, and then we can talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deborah.
Ciao, guys. Bye.
Yeah. Wow. That was cool. Is that helpful for you?
Very helpful. Yes, very. I like this kind of readings or translations, because brings another clarity on some parts of the pictures of who I am and how I manifest and how I have to do things, because we are all different, and we need to understand how we function to be in relationship, because I cannot copy you. It's like, oh, okay, so this is the manual. Like, if I want to do this, I need to do it like this. Dang, 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 dang. No. For example, for me, it was some of them I knew them, some of the ideas that she shared, because and I was like, wow, now I get it. Why, for example, I understand why I cannot be guided. I cannot follow people. Let's put it like this. I literally I don't have like people that I'm following. Yes, I have some mentors that I'm inspired or I'm learning from time to time, but it's on chapters. It's like it's from here to here, and then I'm
Mm.
moving on my own, because I collect information on my way, but I'm building my own path. I don't follow other paths. Um, and yeah, it's like I had to, like, through my life I had to go through different kind of readings, and in order to understand myself, so, and to see how I operate. Because yeah, when you are like very different than the majority, it's like, okay, something it's weird here, like how I'm gonna do this. And I'm still exploring, to be honest. I'm still like, because I'm trying to, this trend of like, oh, you need to do this procedure, and this is how you'll be like the best CEO of the year, and
Yeah, yeah.
uh, five steps to be more productive, and yes and no. It's like, yeah, discipline is good, but if it's a discipline that comes from like must, I froze. It's like I cannot do it. So yes, they are like these kind of solutions or like general methods to get at some goals are not functioning for everyone. So when you don't find your recipe, you need to find your own recipe.
Yeah. Right, right, right. Yeah, beautiful. And it's like, yeah, like this is one of these frameworks, it's a framework for, how, seeing how like, how different humans, right, operate. And right, it's great. And I love, like I love them, and it's nice, like I get excited about them also because there's like you can tell, right? Like if the frameworks that really work, and that stick around are ones where it's like, somebody says, oh, this is your thing, and you're like, oh yeah, that's me, you got me, but then you still like, it helps learn. But I like it. There's really, so right, using you as an example, Deborah talked about this. So it's like it's super helpful to know because I might um like every time you show up to a meeting or whatever, I might be trying to like give you a job, right? And that's, which might make sense to me, or might be just something that I'm, like that's helpful, right? And some people, might really like that. But if every time you come to a meeting, right, and I try and give you a job, and you're like, no, I don't know about that, right? And then it's,
And I say yes
hopefully,
because
right. If I'm like, oh well, Basilica doesn't want to do anything, then it's right.
yeah,
Then it's like, oh, okay, it's just because that there's a lack of understanding, and so then if I
exactly.
understand who you are and where you're coming from, then right, apparently right, you show up one day and you're like, hey, like this is my job. It's like, oh, okay.
No, and many in many situations, and I've been to these cases at some point. And it's not only like it's particularly for me, but it's also in general. Many people, they say yes on things that they are not fully yes.
Right.
And so maybe like somebody is giving me like it's a general task, for example, and I've been through this in different other communities. It's like, oh, we this is the vision of the this is a new project of the community, and we need to do this. And okay, if we need to do this, everyone needs to take a part of the job. Like, okay, we split this. But if I say yes because I don't want to be against, but I'm not fully into that because
Yeah.
it's not something that I like. If I cannot follow, so it's like if somebody has like that project, like is leading that project, then okay, do that things. I'm not a builder, so it's like I don't find my role in like just I'm another kind of I can bring another kind of input, you know. So I had to learn this, and this is why at some point I had to leave some communities because it's like, yeah, but you already have the initiator, and I like if I don't have my own kind of projects here, it's like I don't find myself here. So yeah, I love you guys, and nice, but so it was a lesson that I had to learn. So it's good to have this kind of perspectives to understand where people are coming from, and it's not about like, oh, they don't want to be involved, because this is what is gonna be translated. Oh, they are not involved. No, it's just like is I don't resonate enough, or I don't it's not my place there. So it's not about being involved or being trustful or like responsible or accountable. It's just that I don't want to say yes just because I have to, you know. So
Yeah, for sure. I get that. I get that a lot, and I fully support that, right? I mean, I think that that's one of these values, I think is imbued, and I had tried to imbue, right? Like in holistic systems, is just wanting people to be, the intention, is always just wanting people to be in alignment with wherever they, their place of highest alignment is,
yeah,
so whether that's with this project or that project. So it's always supporting people to just be, more, as much as they can be, right? Be
exactly.
themselves, be in alignment with themselves, where they're best showing up, and so uh, yeah. So it's never about like, oh, well, you have to be in this project or you have to do this thing. So, but I get it. I'm like that, and a lot with that's something I had to learn a lot with the yes, is like when I commit to something, then I fully commit to it. And so I've had to learn like, okay, Rob, like take your time, like don't like, you know, don't commit to anything until you really like feel like you not only, for me that it's a yes, because a lot of times it's a yes, because I like to do everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. But to me, it actually is more like, what capacity do I have?
Yes, exactly. And I have the same tendency to say yes because I like the idea. It's like, yeah, nice, good. But it's like, I don't know if it's that's my role. For example, just to give you, I was thinking to bring the Gathering of Tribes in Costa Rica in 2026. And I had him planned to like I spoke with Victor a little bit, and then we said like, okay, let's have a meeting before Christmas or something. Like we're still trying to synchronize, So anyway, the point is that like, yes, I want to do it, but in the same time, I was like, is it me that I need to initiate that, or because it's not like, yeah, I can plant the seed, but then it's like, do I want to? I'm not the builder, so I need to be very careful in this kind of projects that involves a lot of like building work. That is not for me. I can do it a little bit, but then if I'm not paying attention, I can get caught, and I cut my wings. I'm like literally like lost in operation, in day by day operations.
Yeah.
And I saw this my tendency in other projects in startups that I've created, and I was like literally I lost myself in day by day operations, and I lost my visions. I lost my gut sense, like that's that thing, like the inspiration that's follow like guides me, and I have. So anyway, it's a process. It's a process of learning about ourselves, and then how we can do us in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And this is the kind of thing, that I think would be great for people who come in, you know, uh, members who come in to say like, hey, do you want to like, have a human design reading, or if you already have, to like put that on their, on their profile, and put these kinds of things as well, right? Because that's, sort of personal but professional development, to be thinking about, oh, this is how I work, and these are how other people work. I mean, that's going to help, no matter what, right? It's going to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for example, I know that me as a manifestor, I need to find, for example, manifestor generators or generators around me. If I find another manifestor, it's like, well, it's have to have a coffee together. It's like nice to catch up or like chip chats, but we're not gonna build projects together because we are like very similar, and it's like we need to like I have my own like playground. It's like I cannot like is we don't fit in the same space. So yeah, I'm looking, for example, for generators because they are the builders, and this is where like in my projects, I don't check them with human design, but I'm like trying to figure out about personality. Like I'm trying to see like, okay, depends on the sign, because usually people like they know their sign, you know, their astrological sign.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
at least I'm trying to see based on their personality what kind of um philosophy they have, like if it's here to reflect or to um, like be a good analyst or be a good executor. You know, like there are people that they execute perfectly. You just give them exactly the things that they need to be done, and they are like super amazing in that. But don't put them to analyze. Don't put them to interpret data. Don't put them to, no, it's just like, what the heck is
Mm.
this, you know? But then give this to somebody that can develop, because a perfect executor is not the same thing with a developer, somebody that brings creativity in the project. And you can give them like the idea and like, see, I see like this and this and this, and then the creative can the developer can come and say, okay, but I'm bringing this and I have these elements and look what this app can do and do like. And I was like, wow, okay, so perfect, you understood my vision, and now you are like putting ingredients. It's not that just I give you the recipe, you are like, we are like co-creating, you know, but I'm leading the vision, and then things are like putting on the pot, in the pot. And this is like, it's very important to understand the profiles of people, and like what kind of structures they have, energetic structure, because we all come here for like person, like a authentic mission. Like it's not, I cannot be Rob, I cannot do what Rob does, and I don't want.
Mhm.
It's like, even if we are trying to do this in our society, you know, like we all try to be somebody else. So
Totally.
we need to learn how to be us and how to accept ourselves. And yes, I think this is the process. We are doing it. I don't know what is your like opinion about what is like, what is, where we can go from here in terms of the project. And now that we are like only me and you in this meeting, um, we can see and I don't know, to understand maybe better where we are, because it's very, for me it's very important to understand where we are, and
Yeah.
then where we want to go. It's is the second step, because I think we are more like, we have more clarity about that, where we want to go, than where we are, and what are our
Mm.
resources, and what our like
Mm.
our literally our status today. Because jumping in and out from this kind of meetings, yeah, it's fun to catch up and socialize for a while, but then if like doesn't have a like a tangible output, um I don't know where I'm in this, to be honest, because I
Yeah.
need to see, like in the end of the month, I need to see where are my projects going, and how this time that I'm investing here, it's actually supporting my projects.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 I think that's very good. I mean, first of all, I think we all want that. You know, we all want to be, you know, at the end of every month, we all want to be looking back and saying, "Hey, we've made progress." You know, um, yeah. It's probably, you know, so I think that we need to figure, you know, one thing is to figure out how we can do that more as a group. You know, because for me, it's even though sometimes I feel like, you know, like in the moment, I'm like, oh, we're not making any progress. But whenever I look back, you know, I'm like, oh, wow, we've done a lot. Oh, yeah, that we've done this, that, and the other thing. But, you know, but how to make that a little bit, you know, how to make that more, you know, group oriented and have the group be able to see that. Yeah,
But
I think that we can. Oh,
excuse me to ask you, like when you mentioned the group, who is the group? Because it's a totally different. Actually, no, Christine is the only one that she showed up also the first time when I came. The rest of the other, like the rest of the people are not. I didn't see them the last meetings, so I don't know if they are still in or not. So I'm curious, like, who is the group in the end?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so let's talk about it. I mean, I like what you said. You said you th that you feel like there's more clarity on where we're going, than where we are.
No,
So
where we want to go, not where we are going.
where we
It's a difference. Where we want to go. Right
There,
now, we are not
where
going anywhere, from my opinion. We are standing. We are just like
okay.
we are moving around, but it's like because it's also like yeah, there are progresses that were being done through the last 2 months, but then in which direction? So I think we are like moving, but moving in somehow around the same point. So this is like I'm trying to see like okay, we have an idea where we want to go, but we need to understand where we are so we can know what to do to move in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Because I think that you're in a place where you can be probing and asking those questions, and I'm in a place where I can answer, those questions as well as anyone.
Okay.
So let me take a very quick bathroom break. I'll come
Okay.
back and then yeah, let's do it. I think that'd be great.
Me too. Be right back. Okay.
All right. If at any time we want. All right, great. Thank you. So I'm glad to have this chat. I'm gonna make sure that I'm not being defensive at all. I'm just gonna be, sort of, yeah, like this is a good opportunity for exploration. So the first question you asked was who's the group? Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, over time, the group, people have sort of flowed in and out of the group. So I think to answer the question, the way I see it is right, like the group is sort of like, circles, right? So there's like the inner circle is like the core contributors. And then like the next circle I see is like you know, the group, the community participants, like people who are actively engaged, maybe you could call it like the builders, the operations, folks who are helping, interested in helping kind of run it. And then, then the next kind of circle out is maybe just more like the members, or community members, people who want to participate, but aren't really like, you know, you know, they really want to just kind of like participate in whatever is being built. And then there's like the last, which is just kind of like the group, which is just people who like are looking from the outside and might jump in at some point. So, right now, as far as like core contributors, I would say there's two, there's myself and there's Christine. Um, uh, I mean, I would call you could call Saya a core contributor. She's been around for a while, but she has more limited time. So, but I would still call her maybe a core contributor, but just less time, right? And then there's the next kind of ring, circle of people who, maybe we could put you in this category, and certainly like Deborah and Mescal at this point. which are people who are interested in the operations, and helping, build and develop and create that, holistic systems in some manner. Um, right, there's a lot of sort of like not, in uncertainty, in that realm. Um, I think that's Yeah, I mean, I think that's it for now. There's another, there's another circle of people who I could name who at some point might jump into operations, but that's just where we are like today.
Okay. Um, do we have clarity on each level's role? Like, okay, what are the core contributors needs to do, and what is like their mission? What is their role in this?
Um, no, I wouldn't say we have full clarity on that. You know, we're getting there, and we're talking about like, oh, here's the core contributors are, in this sort of like anchor circle, strategy circle, and these are the people who are like kind of guiding, what's going on, the people who are, helping like the board of directors, in a sense. Um, so we have some definitions of that, but it's not like all clearly defined.
Okay. So let's go back a little bit and ask about the main intention of this. Like, okay, it's a group of people, like you are trying to build a community, or or um, or an app. um, like, what is the main intention in 2 words?
Um, meet our needs. I know that's 3 words, but two.
Meet
The
our
main
needs.
intention is like a community of support, support, helping each other get our needs met in a collaborative manner.
Okay. Community of
Support.
support.
Community of support. Collective empowerment is another 2 words that I use. Collective empowerment, I think, is good. I could use those 2 words. I mean, those 2 words actually resonate a lot with me, right? Like I spark when I'm like, yes, collective empowerment. That's what we're fucking doing. Those are the,
Okay.
yeah. All right. So I could get there in 2 words.
Collective empowerment. Okay. And how this, and you are creating a tool for this collective empowerment. It's a space, or how do you want to define it? It's like something that people can use it, or it's more like a space.
I would say it's I know we're called holistic systems cooperative, but I think the best word is collective. It's like a cooperative, a collective, something, but at least for me, translating it like in English, like a collective is a group of people that come together, like join together and, you know, like share and pool their resources. Um, right. And
Correct.
part of the resources is like the community, part is the relationships. Yeah.
And
The
I really love
tool,
this.
the
Yeah.
the app, the tool is just the way to but basically what we're bringing is there's a framework, like a model for how we do that, a method of doing that. And the tool is almost like the last thing, you know, to 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 come. It's just the platform to facilitate what we're trying to do. That's it.
Mhm.
It isn't the tool is not the star. And I think if the platform, becomes just kind of like, oh, this is the star, then we've gone off track.
Okay. Um, okay, so it's a space, then, from how I can translate it, it's a space um, for collective interactions that can automatically generate support, empowerment, all this like change of or resources and um, covering different needs. In this interaction, do we have some kind of guidance, rules, frames, structures? Because I feel that in this kind of like community, it's a community in the end. It's a way, like it's a space where people are coming and connecting and supporting each other. I think that it's important from my perspective to have some kind of like a structure, like some rules, not in a tendency to limitate ourselves, but in a order to make order to have clarity.
Yes, I think we have a lot of that. We have a lot of that written out, and we have a lot of that. That's, over the last years, that's been a lot of what we have been discussing and creating and developing is like, what are the guidelines? What are the community agreements? What are the rules? How are we going about doing these things? So, yeah, I think we have a good amount of that, like already, on paper.
Okay, it is in paper, but it's also implemented because it's nice to have things on paper, but if we don't embody them, the things are not gonna change. So you are mentioning that this, like you see this from like years, but I'm curious, like when did you start this project?
Um, t- what was it? 2021?
Okay, and in this time, how many people did you um, attract in this, and they really like what is your retaining of members or people involved?
Yeah, I mean, in some sense, I think it's pretty good because I think that the people who've come and who've stuck around, like they're not at the meetings now, but I think, they're like I'm still in touch with them, right? They're still interested. Um, yeah, I mean, as far as like where we are now, right? Because that's what we're talking about. I think that I think where we are now is taking these guidelines and these agreements and these methods and and bringing them into more into form, right? So I think that we've been living them. We have been engaging in them in these ways while we've been creating them, right? And now we're saying, okay, well, we've got to like bring them from our thoughts and from like our discussions, into the first level of form, right? Which is on paper. And now I think we have a lot of that, right? And so now I think where we are now is like bringing them into the next level, of form, which is, um, you know, like on paper for everybody to see and like, hey, this is how like everybody's sort of agreed to it, and we're all sort of acting from these guidelines and these rules in a more um, in a more sort of like agreed upon structured container rather than just sort of figure we're all for the most part acting out of them.
What do you think is needed right now? No, first, what is the next step of this project?
Yeah. Well, if I have the next, I mean, what we've been talking about as far as like the next step, right? See, maybe I don't know if this is an issue, but I see that there are several next steps that are happening in concert with each other, or happening at the same time. So, I can lay those out. I mean, number one, like we need our new material that's basically, that tells people, hey, this is what holistic systems is. We need that up like in public. We need that on the website, right? So there's this, there's these steps. So we need the next version of the website up, which means we need to like finish deciding upon the branding, and then, just, put the pieces on the website, right? We also have like this, sort of info packet that we can send people. So that's number one, or, and then number two is, like, think we're trying to define more, and get in place like our circles and roles, so that way there's more clarity on where people are, what role they're occupying or what, jobs they're doing. And then, also like how we're making group decisions as far as what projects, what projects and tasks that we're working on. So that's kind of number two. I guess number one is not only the website, but it's like putting out like the material, the content, getting the, final drafts. Um, and then, number three, I guess I could put it in a big bucket, which is like getting our onboarding process to a, at least a minimum, sort of level. So that way, when people come in and they say, "Hey, I want to, like join as a member," then we have, an onboarding process, and even in that, I can include like the platform. So, how does that fit with the platform? How are people using the platform at this point? To me, those are like the kind of biggest, pieces.
Okay, and what do you need to get there?
Well, first of all, we need, people, working on those. Um, I think that we need, right, one of the things we need is along with people working on them, we need like, the ability to start to like hand off more of these tasks and projects to people, to people other than myself, right? And so some of that is like me needing to like be able to let go, of some of these, kind of decisions. So that's number one. I think more, just like more people, more, time, more hours, spent on it. And I also think that like these circles and these roles and the process of making, proposals, I think to me, that's what I think can help a lot, because then that's going to be able to sort of like give people a container or an understanding of where they are in the process, but also let people be part of the process of the building.
Okay, so I think I have a more clear image right now of your project or your vision right now. Um, yeah, I think I'm good for the moment. So um, don't know how you want to continue or what you want to add.
Yeah. Um, Nothing. I mean, first of all, great. Yeah, thank you for that. It's I think it's a helpful exercise, especially for myself. Yeah, to be sort of to have to really name as, in as simple sort of terms as possible, right? Like, okay, what it is we're doing and where we're at, what do we need? So yeah, I appreciate those questions. Um, yeah, well, I mean, I don't, like we're at 12:40, so we could wrap up soon, or we could, just sort of finish, kind of like where we left off. We could turn off the recording. We could just, finish off our chat
Mhm.
from before.
Yes, exactly. We can do that.
Yeah, let's do that. Bye, everyone.